Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I do want to speak about the current injuries that Barcelona do have, and then later in the video I also do want to speak about Alejandro Balde and his current status at the club, because right now it does not seem like Alejandro Balde is achieving his best potential, and we're going to be finding out why in this video. So if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys want to support this YouTube channel where we do talk about everything regarding FC Barcelona, you guys can so by subscribing to the channel and also liking this video. I would really appreciate it. So let's get on with the current injuries that Barcelona do have. Starting with the first player, Jules Kounde is going to be out for about 5 weeks. It has been stated by Tony Juan Marty that Jules Kounde will be out for 5 weeks and he will definitely be missing the Clásico. And the test has also carried out that Jules Kounde has a left MCL sprain. And so this is so unfortunate to hear and very frustrating to hear, as a matter of fact, because Kounde in this season was on his way to becoming the best center back in the world. Jules Kounde was having like master classes in every match for the past 8 to 7 matches. It was amazing, and Kounde was really reaching his best potential, but we knew that this moment was going to come, that Jules Kounde eventually would encounter that injury that many of us did not want to see. And unfortunately, the injury that he does have, it could have been avoided because Xavi did fall on his leg, and that is how he did get injured. And so it's unfortunate to see how it did happen, but it does happen in most cases. The more minutes you play, the better chance you do have on encountering a serious injury, and in this case Kounde is now injured. We will be missing him in the next Clásico, and you know, I'm already thinking about what type of defensive line we could place out against Real Madrid. The only one that I can think about that would be the best would be Cancelo, Araujo, Christensen, and Alejandro Balde. That would be the go-to defensive line against Real Madrid, but we'll see. Maybe in about 2 weeks we hear that Jules Kounde is fast-tracking on his recovery and that everything's going to be good and that he'll make it in time for the Clásico. We never know, but as of now, it's unfortunate to hear that our best center back will not be there. But besides that, now it is official that we currently do have 5 very important players out and injured from Barcelona, and that is Jules Kounde, Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Rafinha, and Lewandowski, with Lewandowski being in doubt to reach the Clásico. Rafinha also coming back very soon. Maybe he might reach the Clásico. Then with Pedri, most likely he will reach the Clásico. As for Frankie de Jong, it does seem very difficult at the moment, but he does have a good track record of coming back early, so we'll see if he does make it for the Clásico. But Jules Kounde is definitely out. So now let's talk about Alejandro Balde, because this is a conversation that I have been wanting to have for so long. I just wanted to see more data. I wanted to see if he's continuing to perform like this day in, day out, and he is, right? He has been very average, as a matter of fact, in the past 5 to 6 matches. And I thought that when he was like underperforming in the first 3 to 4 matches in La Liga, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a slight slump and he'll get back to it and he'll bring assists and he'll provide goals and whatever, right? But it is becoming a constant thing. A lot of the crosses that he does make never end up being fully completed. Sometimes when he does receive the ball, he doesn't really know what to do with the ball. He does not look as threatening as he did in the previous season. So why is that? And I think that a lot of it does have something to do with where he does receive the ball in this season specifically. Alejandro Balde is starting to receive the ball in very high areas, very similar to how Jordi Alba used to receive the ball in high areas in the final third. And the most weirdest thing ever is that usually when Alejandro Balde has the ball in a high area, he's very much isolated, which is why I do think that this is a big problem. You have him receive the ball at a high area, which is not his current strength, and then he is isolated, having to deal with taking down about 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 players sometimes. And you and me know this, right? Like, we have talked about this so many times before. Alejandro Balde is a much bigger threat when he does receive the ball in the middle of the pitch or maybe on our own half, and then he moves on to progress with the ball, dribbles the ball during a counterattack, and that right there is where you get the best from him. He knows how to play in very deep areas. That is how you get the best and how you progress Barcelona forward in a counterattack. But with him receiving the ball in high areas, I just don't see him the same. Like, he does not really have the final product, which is very concerning. If we look at this data from StatsBomb, you can see all of the crosses that Alejandro Balde did into the box or to a player. The yellow arrows are the incomplete ones and the red ones are the ones that met the player, right? So like Alejandro Balde's cross met the player. There's very little red and a lot of yellow. And so this whole crossing game of Balde is not really working. Like, he doesn't seem like he is producing very effective crosses that leads towards goals, let alone even meets the player. We only lose the ball in the final product. But then if you look here, right, this is going to be another graph of him dribbling with the ball or passing the ball. You see much more red because he completes a lot of those dribbles or a lot of those passes in very deep areas, but very little in the final third. So that is where you do see the most threat from Balde, and that is where you do see the most prime Balde. It is in deep areas during build-up play, and while we want to go on the counterattack after the opposition does lose the ball when they were attacking. We can even see here, right, so like you and me know this, right? Alejandro Balde likes to make a lot of crosses into the penalty area, but you don't see him in the top 10 at all. You don't see him in the top 7. If anything, Mingueza has more crosses into the penalty area, and then you have Iñaki Williams at first, Richard Sanchez also being tied. You also have Alvaro Garcia. You have many players there doing doing great work in terms of crosses into the penalty area. Even Ivan Rakitic is there, but Alejandro Balde is not there. You would assume that Balde would be there, but he's not. And then if you look at the key passes, he's also not there. And then you can see players like Aspas, Isco, Ivan Rakitic, Gundogan, Inaki Williams, Toni Kroos, all being there in terms of key passes. You would assume that Alejandro Balde would be there because of his amazing 1v1 ability and his ability to find those crosses into the box. Even in passes into the penalty area, Alejandro Balde is nowhere to be found. You have Isco at number 1, Inaki Williams at number 2, Valverde at number 3, Suso at number 4, Bellingham, Rodri, Frankie de Jong at number 10. But where you see Alejandro Balde blossom the most, it is those progressive carries. As you can see on this stat here, he is number 3, third in La Liga, which goes to show that his passing is not amazing, but his dribbling is superb. And so this is the reason why Jordi Alba was so appreciated in the past 7 years. Is because of his final ball. It is because of his crosses into the box or just outside the box and making that great duo with either Lewandowski or Lionel Messi, like for sure. But with Alba, we do get the reverse of Alejandro Balde. He's good at crossing, but average in defending, which is why many of us wanted Alba out. But Balde is average in crossing, but very good in defending and very good in dribbling with the ball in deep areas. Jordi Alba was not good at that. So they are the complete opposite of each other. The reason why Alejandro Balde suffers so much in the final third is because he's locked very well. Like he's always having 2 or 3 players go up against him. And so because of that, there is no space, there is no time. And I think that the real reason why Balde does not see a lot of opportunities, it is because there is no real threat on the left wing. Like I know that we have Joao Felix, but he's not a Neymar. He is not a Vinicius Jr. Like I'm talking about, like, let's talk about Vini, right? Like, you know how players act on the right flank every time they know that they have to face Vinicius? There's like 2 or 3 players going up against Vinicius. You and me know how hard it is and how much anxiety there is to stop Vinicius. Like we have to put Araujo as a right back just for that game specifically because he never plays as a right back unless he really does need to. But we place him there because we know Vinicius is a great threat. Barcelona need the exact same thing on the left wing. We need someone that can be a real worldwide threat where everybody's like, okay, we have to stop that player. That player there, if there's only one man on him, that is not enough. And so I think that if we have that type of player, that is where Alejandro Balde could blossom, because you take away players from Alejandro Balde and you give Balde the opportunity to attack the open spaces and make the cross into the box. It's one of the reasons why Jordi Alba was so successful in those years, is because Neymar took away so many players away from Jordi Alba and Jordi Alba found a lot of space. Now you may say, but Kevin, how come Jordi Alba was successful after Neymar left and there was no real threat on the left wing? That is because Jordi Alba's biggest strength was his runs into the final third, and he received the ball from a all-time greatest player of the world, Lionel Messi, right? You guys know that exact play with Jordi Alba running into the final third just outside the box. Messi makes a pass, Jordi Alba receives it, makes a one-time pass back to Messi, and Messi gets the ball again and he scores the goal. So that is how he basically evolved his playing style, right? It was at first creating that perfect dynamic with Neymar, having Neymar take away all of the players away from Jordi Alba. Once Neymar left, he's like, okay, I'm going to be making those runs into the final third, make a great pass to Messi, and boom, Messi scores a goal. Like that time between 2017 and 2019 was probably the peak of Messi and Jordi Alba. Messi was such a threat at that time that it even took away players away from Jordi Alba, which is why he saw so much of the ball. And so in a way, we have to see the same thing with Alejandro Balde. We need some type of player in the front three in general to take away a lot of the players away from Alejandro Balde. There is no player right now that makes the opposition say, okay, we need to have 2 or 3 players on this player because he is such a danger. They're not going to do that to Lewandowski. They're not concerned about him. They're not also going to do that with Rafinha or Lamine Yamal yet, but with no player. This is why I do hope that, you know, in the future we get Rafael Leao to play on the left wing, but that's going to be for a whole other different conversation. But you know, like after Messi did leave, Jordi Alba yet again had to readjust his role because now he no longer had that filter from Messi. And so what Xavi Hernandez ended up doing when he first came in was placing Jordi Alba in a much more central role. I don't know if you guys remember that. He put Alba in a Joao Cancelo type of role and have him make those through passes from the center. And he no longer made those runs on the left wing. But at that point, it was like, you know, Jordi Alba was okay. He was average in attacking and he was also like average in defending. He did not provide something like super special. And we knew that Xavi Hernandez wanted to create a great sporting project with a great monstrous team, and being just an okay player, a solid player, someone who doesn't really give out that exceptional type of skill set, those type of players did not really belong in that squad, which is why Jordi Alba saw less of a role once Alejandro Balde got introduced. And then Xavi said, I'm going to opt for Alejandro Balde because he has a scary skill set in his disposal, and that is the dribbles and the take on abilities he does have in deep areas. He has the pace, he has the power, and everything all around. And that is why we came into a conclusion where Jordi Alba had to leave and Alejandro Balde had to take on the role full time. But now there is a problem. Now there is Xavi Hernandez needing to figure out how can he replicate what Jordi Alba did in the attack as a final ball output to Alejandro Balde. Balde really does need that. And I do believe that it will come down to two different things. Point number one is to have a real threat on the left wing, like what I have said. It can be a player like Vinicius, it can be a player like Kylian Mbappe, Leao, it can be whoever, right? Barcelona have to have some sort of real threat type of level that's close to Vini, Kylian Mbappe, or Rafael Leao. And then point number two, we need to have options inside the box. We need to have more arrivals into the box. When Alejandro Balde has the ball, there needs to be more players inside the box waiting to receive the ball and ask for the ball. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.